An unconventional way to create deep attraction quickly. I'm going to explain to you an approach that you can use on cold approaches, that you can use on first dates, that will make you way more attractive to women. And it's an approach that almost nobody in the entire pickup space would ever tell you to do. So, the inspiration for this idea and actually have it crystallized in my mind came from one of my clients. One of my clients, he's very good with women. By the way, not every guy who I work with, his issue is being able to get girls. It might be an issue with getting a certain quality of woman. It might be, they have other issues down the line with it. It's not being able to get laid or getting a woman attracted to them. That's not the problem that they have. And this guy's a great example of this. He's incredible with women, can attract women all the time, and really get them turned on. Really get them turned on. But he's not a very tall guy, right? He's not the kind of guy that when you think to yourself, oh, what are women attracted to? You're not gonna think that this guy is that guy. And yet he is fantastic with women. So what is it that he does that's so powerful and profound? What he does is something that I've done and other guys I know have done too, but maybe less consciously, which is that you will actually admit and acknowledge problems that you have. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. On a first date, rather than do what's commonly told that you should do, which is dropping, demonstrations of higher value, basically showing, what kind of a G or what kind of a baller you are. What you're actually going to do is you're going to talk about a problem that you have, an issue you have. You're going to be essentially real. And the reason this is so powerful is because this kind of authenticity is really disarming for women. They're not expecting it. They don't think a guy is going to say something like, yeah, I'm really antisocial. I don't get out and I don't get to talk to people very much. I don't know why. I always have an issue going and talking to people. When a woman hears that, okay, it's not attractive, right? And yet it's real. And so what happens is that the woman trusts the guy because the guy is not afraid of being able to share this sort of stuff about himself to her. It's basically a very advanced version of assume rapport, because you would assume rapport with if you're gonna be talking to a friend, you might be open and honest with a friend about some issues you've been having. So you're talking to her from the capacity as if you're already intimate. It creates a lot of trust. But the other big thing about it is that when you're talking about these issues or whatever that you have, first off, you're not like dumping problems on her. And second off, you're not this vulnerability. You're not doing it to try to get a reaction from her. You're not like asking her to help you or to save you. It's none of that stuff. It's none of that stuff. You're just simply talking almost matter of factly about some issue that you have. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't do any demonstrations of higher value. It doesn't mean that you don't leave breadcrumbs about cool things about yourself that she can latch onto. In fact, what I would say is that these two tactics together go really well in tandem, because you do want to convey that you're an interesting, exciting person. You've got cool stuff going on, but you also want to be relatable. One of the massive myths in the entire attraction space is this idea that you have to be perfect. But the truth is that nobody wants to be with a perfect person. Nobody wants to be with a perfect person, because if you're with someone perfect, then they make you feel imperfect. So being with imperfect people will lower your own self-confidence, because it's a sense like you can't live up to the ideal. So perfect people tend to be hated, actually. Women tend to really, and this happens in some relationships where you have a guy who's like the classic nice guy. He's so good. He's so sweet. He does everything, perfectly. He's a unassailable boyfriend. And the woman goes and cheats on him with some asshole because he's too perfect. There's not enough of an edge to him. He's not showing enough um, fuck up stuff. And I'm not saying it's a healthy quality among people to do this, but you do want to keep it in mind in the attraction process. Part of what we're drawn to is that the person is real, that we feel like we can relate to them. And since we have problems, since we have issues, being able to relate to somebody who also has some issues, is a big deal. It's a big deal. So, yeah, the key here is while you don't want to make a date, obviously a therapy session, don't be afraid of like not coming across as perfect. Don't be afraid of sharing some unflattering details about yourself. Just make sure when you're sharing it, you're totally owning it. It's like, yeah, this is how I am. It's like, it's kind of messed up. Maybe I should stop doing it, and then you can bring it to her. You can say, what about you? What's one of your really bad habits? Maybe she's ashamed of something. And then you get her to share something she's ashamed of. And then you're like, you laugh it off. You don't take it seriously. You held space for her. At this point now she feels really connected to you. And it's so different from what she's used to with other guys, which is going to have all sorts of little agenda and her having to keep up this image. With her, she feels like she feels like she can be real. So anyway, that's this unconventional approach. I'll also just make this last comment. Authenticity is great on dates, but being authentic about being open about everything is not what you want to do initially. You do want to hold some stuff back. You don't want to overshare. The point here is just for her to get a taste of who you are, warts and all. A taste. Don't give her the whole dish. That's for later. That's for the later dates. That's for your lifetime. All right, guys. See you on the next video. Oh, by the way, like and subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Like, comment, and subscribe.